Welcome back to the shop, guys. It's spring, and I think there's a whole lot of C5 Corvette owners that are looking for a serious boost in horsepower for this summer's driving season, because I keep getting asked a whole lot of questions about the A&A Vortec C5 Corvette Supercharger Kit. So in this video, we're going to go into more of a deep dive and talk about everything that's included in the kit, how much it costs, and if you should think about installing it yourself or pay a shop to do it. We're going to do all that and a whole lot more next.
Toys for life.
To be perfectly clear, this video is not sponsored by anybody, although I suppose you could make the argument that I've got an ongoing sponsorship with A&A via the smile it puts on my face every time I take the Supercharged C5 for a spin. As we all know, or should know, horsepower costs money, so how fast do you want to go? Unfortunately, there's really no inexpensive options when looking for a significant bump in horsepower for your C5 Corvette. However, some options are a lot better than others. Recently, I put out a couple videos about superchargers. The first one was comparing the heads, cam, and headers option versus supercharging and what the benefits to each are. And the second one was kind of a video on what kind of a C5 Corvette owner benefits most from using a supercharger, and which type of owners, and more specifically, what type of uses should steer clear of supercharging their C5 Corvette. So if you haven't seen those, I'll make sure to put a link in your upper right hand corner. Take a look at those because they may help you to decide if a supercharger is the right option for you. If you're new to the channel, just know that I've been a car guy my entire life. I've been a C5 Corvette addict the past decade. I've had this 2003 Corvette for the last 8 years, and it's been supercharged for the last 3. In my humble opinion, the best performance modification that I've ever done to any vehicle, period, is to add a supercharger. If you have been, or you're just getting started researching supercharger kits, I think that you'll find that there's 2 well-respected companies offering very well-engineered supercharger kits for the C5. East Coast Supercharging, or ECS for short, and A&A Corvette. In this video, I'm going to be talking exclusively about the A&A kit because it's the kit that I purchased, I installed, I tuned, I've dealt with their customer service, and for those reasons, I pretty much know it inside and out. As far as which kit is better, I really couldn't tell you because I don't have any direct experience with the ECS kit or its customer service. But what I can say is that through the years, I've heard nothing but good things about both companies, which probably explains why each company is successful as it is today. That having been said, I'm sure if we asked each company, each would tell us why their product is superior to the competition, but in my mind, the kits are quite similar, they're priced almost identical, and I don't think you can go wrong with either one. The A&A kit is what I would call 98% complete. It comes with all of the physical parts that you need to get your C5 up and running as the new and improved Supercharged C5. However, there are a few extra parts that you should purchase and install at the same time as installing the Supercharger kit. And I'll include more on that in just a little bit. The second part of the installation has to do with the computer tuning. A&A will provide you with a safe tune that your tuner can use to get the car up and running after the install as a safe basis from which to start the tuning process. Enough of the gum flapping, let's walk through all of the components in the A&A kit. First up, we've got the magic of the entire system, the Supercharger head unit. A&A gives you 2 options to choose from, the Vortec SI and TI models. To simplify the choice, I would boil it down to this. If you need a California Air Resource Board compliant unit, go with the SI. Otherwise, just go with the SI if your goals are 600 rear wheel horsepower or less, as it'll be more efficient in that power range. And if you want, you can go with the TI if your goal is between 600 and 775 rear wheel horsepower. You also can choose each head unit in the V2 model, which plumbs its oil from the engine rather than being self-contained like the V3. Now, I researched this a lot when I made my purchase, and at the end of the day, I went with a self-contained unit to prevent cross-contamination in the event of an engine or a supercharger failure at some point down the road. Next we have the custom A&A Supercharger bracket with billet tensioner. This securely mounts the supercharger to the engine block in an extremely solid way that also allows for easy belt adjustments. Truly a work of art. The kit contains all required tubing and couplers needed to route the air from the supercharger through the intercooler and to the engine. A robust air-to-air intercooler is included in the kit to yield a decent amount of heat dissipation, allowing for a cooler and denser charge. It is well made and fits like a glove. The kit also contains custom aluminum panels that help seal the path and properly direct airflow through the intercooler and also the condenser radiator assemblies. The blow-off valve. This is what makes that pretty damn cool whooshing sound that most car guys love. Its purpose is simple. Anytime you're between mid and full throttle, you're in boost. When you let off the throttle, all of that boost has to have somewhere to go, so the blow-off valve opens and releases the pressure. A&A gives you 3 choices, from awesome to obnoxious. I went with a 38mm TurboSmart valve, which in my humble opinion is perfect. The kit contains a harmonic balancer pinning kit and instructions on how to pin the harmonic balancer to the crankshaft. This is needed because the belt that drives the supercharger puts a lot more strain on the harmonic balancer / pulley assembly, and GM chose not to use a keyway on the stock LS1, LS6. Therefore, pinning the balancer keeps it from spinning on the crankshaft, which would likely destroy it. With all that boost, the engine's going to absolutely need more fuel than the stock 28-pound injectors can provide. The kit comes with new 60-pound Siemens Deca fuel injectors to handle it. If your plans call for using 85 in the future, then consider upgrading to the 80-pounders for $200 more. Depending on the year of your C5, the kit also includes either a higher flow fuel pump or a Kenny Bell Boost-A-Pump to help keep up with your engine's new thirstier fuel demands. Custom radiator hold-down brackets are included, and a custom top shroud helps to tidy up the installation and direct airflow through the radiator. A cold air intake, custom made to connect to the supercharger, spark plugs, and a few other necessary small items round out the parts that are included to complete the installation. There are a few optional parts, depending on your particular situation, that you may want to consider purchasing and installing as part of your supercharger installation. The first optional part is the power steering pump bracket assembly. In late 2003, GM improved the strength of the part with the revised part number. And in my mind, there's only one reason they would have done that. Now, due to the fact that the supercharger places more stress on the serpentine belt, in my mind, it's just a no-brainer to replace this bracket as part of the process and eliminate a potential failure down the road. Even though they're a GM part, you can pick them up online for around 80 bucks. And as a bonus, I sold my old one on eBay for about $35. Speaking of the power steering pump assembly, did you know that the C5 power steering pump pulley is made out of plastic? Neither did I. So while you're in there, go ahead and replace it with a steel one from a C6 Corvette. You can pick them up online for about 40 bucks, and it'll save you from yet another potential failure down the road. If you haven't replaced your harmonic balancer with something other than a GM unit in the past couple years, then it's a no-brainer to upgrade it with a new one at the time of the supercharger installation. This is because you're 95% of the way there anyway with the disassembly that has to happen to be able to pin the harmonic balancer, so you might as well just put a new one on at the same time. Now, after plenty of research, I decided to go with a replacement power bond harmonic balancer, and after 3 years of abuse, I have no regrets. Now that you've got a good idea on the parts that are included in the kit, the next question really is, should you try to save about $1,000 and install it yourself? Now, that's going to depend a lot upon you and your abilities. So here's a few things to think about. Do you have the tools and the skills to do it? In my opinion, if you can do an LS cam swap, you probably have the ability to do it. Do you have the time to do it? It's a fairly long job, so you're going to need to pencil in 15 to 20 hours if you haven't done one before. Can you live without your C5 for a few days? It's going to take at least a few days to install the kit, and then you've got to consider another few days to have it tuned or tune it yourself. Are you a control freak like me? and you really don't want anybody else touching your sweetheart? Answer these questions honestly to yourself, and I think you'll have your answer. Let's move on to how much the kit costs. As of March of 2021, A&A has it on their website at $57.50, and I just saw it on Texas Speed for $56.50. Now in the past, occasionally you've been able to find a sale, usually like Black Friday or perhaps some other occasion. For the installation, if you're going to install it yourself, you get the satisfaction of doing the job, knowing it's right, or you can hire a shop to do it. Typically, shops that specialize in Corvettes are going to charge somewhere around $1,000 or so to install it and another $500 or so to tune it. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But if you look at it in terms of price per horsepower, it's relatively cheap because for that 200 horsepower, it's going to cost you about $37 per horsepower. If you look at something like headers being installed in a tune, you're going to pay around $57 per horsepower. Guys, if I missed anything or if you have any questions that I didn't cover, just let me know in the comments below. If you found value in this video, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button, and that will let YouTube know as well to share this video with the rest of the C5 community. And of course, the most important, thanks for watching.